The crime boss once casually gave aid to a poor child, never expecting that the boy would remember the kindness for life. He told the child, "From now on, if you're ever hungry, come to this restaurant and eat for free." He didn't realize that this small act of generosity would one day bring him unimaginable rewards. Years later, while discussing business expansion with his brothers, an inspector suddenly arrived, announcing that their restaurant had committed a series of violations. After questioning, the man discovered it was actually his brother secretly conducting shady deals behind his back. Instead of blaming him, the boss only felt it was his own failure in management. Before leaving, he gave his brother a few instructions and then took all the blame upon himself, unaware that his brother had orchestrated the entire scheme. 10 years passed in the blink of an eye. On the day of his release, a fleet of luxury cars suddenly stopped in front of him. Bystanders hurried to flatter him, believing his brothers had sent people to welcome him back. But it soon became clear the escorts were there for someone else. In an instant, the same onlookers turned their backs on him with ridicule, which he found almost comical. Realizing this was simply how society worked, he no longer cared. All he wanted was to find his brothers, reclaim what belonged to him, and live an independent, peaceful life. He went to the restaurant he once ran, where a luxury car soon pulled up, and out stepped the very brother who had betrayed him. The two embraced warmly, feigning closeness. After some small talk, they went into the office. Confronted with his brother's fake politeness, the man cut straight to the point, declaring he no longer wished to be involved in the underworld, he only wanted back the money from his investments. The brother explained that he had invested it all in hopes of earning more, but it had been lost in a stock market crash. He pleaded, "Brother, you won't blame me, will you?" The man replied, "It's not about trust. That money was meant for my child's future." But the brother admitted it was gone, and he had no way to repay him. The man didn't push further. Instead, he said he simply needed a place to stay and a job. Pretending to be generous, the brother offered him the entire hotel, but he refused, saying he only wanted a simple life. The brother then instructed his men to make arrangements. What neither of them knew was that the beggar boy the man had once helped had since become the richest man in the world. When he heard of his benefactor's release, he was overjoyed and immediately sent people to welcome him. Meanwhile, under his brother's arrangement, the man was forced to shine shoes. Local thugs mocked him mercilessly, sneering that the once feared boss had now fallen so low. At that moment, their third brother arrived. Seeing his old leader, he was overjoyed until he noticed him scrubbing shoes at the door. Enraged, he slapped one of the underlings and shouted, "What do you think you are?" He tried to punish the offender, but the man stopped him. At first, he thought this brother truly cared, but he soon realized he was no better. The third brother even asked him to polish his shoes, praising his skill with mockery. Soon after, the second brother came out and joined in, publicly mocking him and sarcastically complimenting his talent. The third brother tossed him a couple hundred as a tip, while the second deliberately dirted his shoes just to have them cleaned again. At that, the man's long-suppressed anger finally erupted. "Do you think this is right?" he shouted. "If it weren't for me back then, you'd all still be nothing but street thugs. Without me, would you even have the lives you enjoy today? Back then, who was it that took the fall for you? I wasted 10 years behind bars, and now this is how you treat me after I'm out?" The second brother only sneered, brushing it off as if nothing mattered. He said arrogantly that he had never begged anyone to take the blame for him. Hearing this, the man didn't want to argue further. He explained that he wasn't trying to fight for leadership, he only wanted his money back, and then he would disappear quietly. But the second brother mocked him again, saying, "If you want the money, kneel and beg for it." For the sake of his daughter, the man tried to endure, but instead of any goodwill, they humiliated him further, tossing him a check for just $3,000. Seeing these two ingrates treat him this way, the man swore he would get justice no matter what. Then the second brother's mask dropped. In his fury, he admitted it had been him who framed the man all those years ago, sending him to prison, and now he even ordered his men to break his limbs and throw him out. At that moment, a voice cut through the chaos, "Try touching him if you dare." Everyone turned in shock. It was the man the boss had once helped, a beggar boy from long ago.